Hello, my name is Jimmy Vegas and welcome to this, the sixth in a series of video tutorials for Unity 5. Okay, so this episode we are going to be looking at doing some coding. We'll be using JavaScript, as I feel JavaScript is a little bit easier than C#. Also, I do feel a bit more comfortable writing with Java, but we may use C# later on in the tutorial, as you can use more than one language. We'll also be putting in another few little bits and bobs, and we'll also create fire in this episode. So let's begin. First thing to do is let's check where our first person controller is. He's in the middle here, so that's fine. So let's go to Game Object, 3D Object, and let's create a cylinder. What we're going to do is we're going to create a log to start off with. So let's pull it this way to where we want it. Let's see, somewhere around there, I think. Okay, that's fine. So let's zoom in on it. Right click and let's see, rename, and let's just call this log 001. Okay, so I want to lie this down on the floor, so let's change the rotation on the x-axis to 90. And let's bring it down to the floor somewhere about there. That'll do. Next thing, we're going to change the scale because it is a little bit too big. We'll keep it as the length as 1. So let's change this to 0.5 and let's change the Z or Z also to 0.5. Is that still against the floor? No, but it is now. Okay, so next thing to do, go into your textures folder in the project and asset window down here, and we're going to import this log 001. As always, drag and drop into Unity. And then from there, just drag straight on to the object. Not perfect, but it will do for now. Okay, so next thing we need to do is we'll create a script. The script we're going to create is one where we can pick this object up and put it where we want it. So in Assets here, right click, create folder, and call this folder scripts. And into the folder, right click in this window, create, and JavaScript. We'll call this, let's see, what's the best thing to call this? Let's call it pick up. Double click the file and it will hopefully open slowly in a program called MonoDevelop. It's a little program that we use to write our scripts. It just makes things a little bit easier. There's not much more to it, really. It should come up with this. Give it a few minutes, and then it'll show another screen. It's taking longer than I would like. There we go. Okay, so to start off with, it gives you a couple of lines of code. I am going to delete them lines because we're going to write a script from the start. So you have this big white window and a few things around. Don't worry about the little things around. We don't need to worry about them at all at this point in time. We just care about this big white window here. So the first thing we need to do, we need to define a variable. Now a variable is something which, like I say, we define, but we want it to change as such because we want to change where the object is. So to do that, we need to state var, which means for variable, and then we'll call this, we'll just call it target, and then we need double colon, and we need to define the target. So we'll put transform, if I spell it right. Okay, and end this line with a semicolon. Most lines have to end with a semicolon. That's just generally how the coding is. So the next line, we put a function update. Now you need to put a capital U on update here. It is vital because everything we do here is case sensitive. It's very important. Open close bracket, open curly bracket, and then next line down, close curly bracket. Now them two lines are not really essential, but it is good practice to put them in. It makes things a little bit easier in the long run. So the next line, we need to actually state what we're going to do in these next few lines. So we need to put function, and what we're going to do is when we have the mouse click down, we're going to pick up the object, and when we let go of the mouse, we're going to put it down. So, not update, sorry, my apologies. On mouse down, and remember, OMD has to be in caps. Open close bracket, and then open curly bracket. So we're going to state now what we'll do when the mouse is down. So whatever object this script is applied to, which will be this, it will define as this. We want to dot transform the position. So we want to move the position and make it equal to target dot position. So this will effectively move our object to a place that we can set later on. So when we finish writing this script, we will define where this position is, this target. Next line, we'll need to parent our objects to actually make them stick. So we want to transform again, so this dot transform, and we need to parent the object in the hierarchy. So we need dot parent. So before we go any further, I'm just quickly going to go back into Unity. Remember, these are the parent here. So when you click the arrow, they're the children of that parent. So here, for example, FPS controller, that's the parent and this is the child. So we currently need to make this object under FPS controller. So assuming you haven't renamed FPS controller, that is the word we will use in this next bit. So we need to put game object dot find, and then open bracket, double quote, and we need to put FPS controller, double quote, close bracket, and the final thing we need to put on this line is dot transform, and then semicolon. Okay, so just to recap on this little bit here, all we've done is we've transformed whatever the script is attached to. It's found a game object called FPS controller and it's transformed it. So it's now coupled onto there. So we need to go one step further as well and put this dot transform dot parent and then equal game object. Remember, game object has a capital G, capital O, dot find, and a capital F on the find. Open bracket, double quote, and then we need the next thing down in our FPS controller, which is first person character. So again, assuming you haven't actually changed that, you've kept it as default. First person character, double quote, close bracket, then dot transform, and then semicolon. Next line down, and we close curly bracket. Okay, so these first few lines of code, all we've done is pick up the object. So whether we hold our mouse down or whether we click it, at this point it is going to be stuck to whatever the position we have defined as target. So we need to make a few more lines which define when we let go of the mouse. So function on mouse up this time, open close bracket, and then open curly bracket. Next line down, we need to this dot transform dot parent equals game object dot find open bracket double quote. So we need to put the FPS controller again here just to uncouple from the original. FPS controller dot transform, and remember the semicolon at the end. Next line down, we need to remove any parenting at all. So this dot transform dot parent equals null. Now hopefully you should know that null means nothing. It means zero, it means empty, it means end of, basically. It means nothing. And finally, close curly bracket. So now you'll want to save that script. Control S, save if you're on a Windows PC, or you can go to File and save there. So back into Unity. What we need to do now is our log that we've created, our terrible looking log. We just need to drag this script onto the log, and then if we click on the log, you'll notice down here we have target, which we defined as a variable that's currently set as none. So what we need to do is we need to go to game object and create empty. You'll notice game object appears here. What we need to do is right click, rename, and we'll call this, let's see, pick up target. And then we'll couple this in the hierarchy onto FPS controller. So now we need to position this in a place we can see it. So if you go to pick up target, firstly, zero out the position. Now we need to define which, or rather check which way our person is currently looking. So it's currently looking that way. So we need to take this and we need to move it out slightly, probably to about there. So now we need to put this game object there as our variable in our log. So down here where it's got target, you just need to drag this from the hierarchy here. So now our variable is defined as this being the target. So when we press play, we should be able to have a look at our log, which is there. Let's head over to it and let's pick it up. So I currently have the mouse held down and I have the log in front of me. So I'm going to let go of the mouse here. There we go. And it's now there. So again, let's hold and let's put it down. Let's see. Let's just put it down there. There we go. So that's that done. So you can apply that script to any object really, although applying it to a tree is probably a bit silly. Although you can do if you want to, it's entirely up to you. I've just used the log as an example. So the next thing we're going to do, as I promised, we're going to make some fire. The best thing and easiest way of doing that is, let's place it just here I think. game object, and we need to go and choose particle system. You'll notice when it first starts up it doesn't look anything like fire. So let's put it about there. I think that may be a little intersected with the ground, but not to worry. So right click, rename, and call this Fire 001. So now we need to play around with these settings over here. So it's not too difficult from here. So let's have a play. So let's choose a nice sort of orangey colour. A nice deep orange. A bit more reddish, I think, maybe. There we go, that should do. Next thing, head down a little. So I'm not going to go over every single one of these as they're not all necessary in this instance. Emission, you don't really need to know about. Shape. Okay, we'll play around with shape a little because we can modify how that looks. So let's change it to, for example, hemisphere, and you'll notice that the particles sort of come out differently. Radius, I'm going to set it to 0. Let's see, let's have another one. Let's try circle. Can't really see a whole lot there. So you can have play around with these, see what different things do. I'm going to set to cone again. Angle, I'm going to set to 0. I think the best thing to do is if we do cone for now, but you can choose anything you want. I am going to radius. Let's have the radius as no, it's too big, isn't it? Let's have 0.1. Yeah, I think 0.1 for now. Okay, so let's click that to close that. Velocity over lifetime. No, we won't bother with this. We can create our fire and then come back and tweak these little things. Fuller, no, don't need to brown. Force, color. Change the color over lifetime. Can make it a bit lighter at the end, I guess, if we want. So we click here, color. Is it really worth it? That's the question. No, I don't think it's worth changing the color over lifetime at the moment because we'll be using texture anyway. But by all means, you can have a little play with the color. Color by speed, don't need to worry about. So the one we do need to worry about is size over lifetime. So we need to tick this here. Then click on this box and you notice a red line here. This now defines how high our fire is going to go. So at the moment you'll notice it goes all the way up here. If we take this little red dot to here, you'll notice our fire goes to about here. So I'm going to put it, oops, so that needs to stay up there, and I'm going to put this about there, I think. Rotation over lifetime, we'll rotate by 45 degrees, we'll keep that. Don't need to worry about anything else apart from this, texture sheet animation. So, let's see. Let's change this to 2 and 2. And you'll notice something changes here. It looks very, very odd, to say the least. So you know what? I think we will actually keep it as 1 for now. We can come back to that at a later date. We don't need to worry too much. Okay. So. Right, okay. So let's quick. Hey guys, back. I had a little bit of a freeze there, my apologies. Okay, so we were quickly reviewing what was going on here. So everything we have is now currently set. So in materials over here, we now need to define what the fire looks like. So our best course of action for this is to right click, create material, and we'll just call this Fire 001. Nothing too fancy about it. Next we go into our textures folder just here, and we need to import this flame. So you can use virtually any flame, in all honesty. It is entirely up to you. You can use this one. Like I always say, all assets are free on our website. Head over there for the free assets. And we now need to put this fire onto our material, which hopefully you should still have in the inspector pane as Fire 001. So just drag and drop this little square just here. And then next thing, materials, and then drag and drop your flame onto your fire just here. You'll notice it's not particularly fiery right now. So we head back onto the particle system, and all we need to do is play with the shader. So click here. Currently it should say standard. Go to particles, and you can choose either additive or additive soft. I'm just going to go additive right now, and you'll notice we have a little flame. So let's play around a little more. Shape, currently set as cone. Radius, let's set this to 0. Yep, that should do. Size over lifetime. Again, we can tell you what, we need to just take this texture sheet animation off, I think, just for now. You can make your fire high if you wanted by dragging this over here. Oh, a nice little fire about there. Let's see what happens when we take rotation off. Just kind of changes it the other way. So we have a little fire now. So let's press play. It's not the world's best fire, but you can play around with the settings a little bit and see what you come up with. I have also created another tutorial where I go a little bit in depth with fire. By all means, you can try that out if you head over to the channel. If not, have a play around with the fire we've created here. See what you can do with it, and just have a little play around. So we'll leave that tutorial there for now. I'm going to save that. Always best to save in Unity whenever you can. And so until the next episode, yeah, good stuff. We're doing well so far. We've just finished episode 6. So next episode, what can we look into? We'll look into importing more objects and building up our little kind of camping village here. And then maybe heading over the bridge and building an actual town. So as I say, until next episode, thank you very much for watching.